with everything that he has predicted so far. Let me say a pleasant good evening to veteran journalist Ken Ali.
Good evening to you, Mikey, and to all many listeners and viewers.
Well, Ken, as I said, you have been spot on from day one with your predictions. I mean, I've read everything. You came and you told us, of course, that there's going to be some changes. There's going to be some reshuffling. There's going to be some individuals who will be out, and some, of course, will be promoted, and that we've seen. And of course, today the date has been set. The bell has been rung. But what are we looking at? We're also hearing in the background some talk about a constitutional crisis. Have you picked up anything on that?
Yes, well, there has been that talk about a constitutional crisis. There are several things that are of relevance. So one, I was told that the date, like you saw and like you said, I had indicated April 28th. I said so in a newspaper article about 2 or 3 weeks ago. When the opposition leader indicated that she would file a constitutional action against the appointment of Stuart Young, it was decided that they will wait for some time before announcing the election date. Now, as you know, under the Constitution, the government, the Prime Minister must announce a date and give 35 days notice. He's still within that period. I think it's 40 or 41 days.
Right.
They anticipated, the PNM top brass anticipated or looked out to see if the opposition leader will file action. And she did not do that. She did not indicate anything at the Monday night meeting and so on. So in light of all of that, he went ahead and he named the date. But he had, along with Dr. Rowley, planned a series of dates, and they had sort of reverse engineered the date April 28th, which they were always looking at a sort of early date in the scheme of things for various reasons. And also, if you follow the PNM history, whenever they launch their candidates at Woodford Square, Dr. Williams and successive leaders would name the election date within the 35-day proviso as soon as possible. So they were quite predictable also in what they did.
Let me just read some of the comments. Well, the comments that were sent by the opposition leader as far as calling of the general election. It says that Young hurriedly called the date to preempt the UNC legal action that was coming regarding his illegitimate and illegal anointing as Prime Minister. Young and the PNM fully well knew that his appointment is illegal and unconstitutional. His appointment would have been shown to be unconstitutional in the courts, and he would then be forced to face a PNM internal election before the general election. Penny would have decimated him in any internal election, and the PNM financiers Baku would have been put down. She said the UNC is ready, and we will do what PNM MPs failed to do, which is to protect our country from being gifted to a selfish select group of Young's financiers.
Yes, well, he may well have preempted it by his action, because it's a fact there's a lot of dissension within the PNM. That's a clear fact. In fact, I've written also that there is talk of a likely palace coup after the election if the PNM wins against Stuart Young. Now, the PNM's culture is to show a united face. But under that mask, there is a lot of unhappiness, a lot of dissension. And so we have to wait and see if the PNM were to pull through in the election, whether Stuart Young could survive as political leader of the PNM. And I think that will be a real issue moving forward if they're defeated at the polls.
I agree with you, but when you go back to what was said yesterday by Stuart Young, he said that he wanted to open a new chapter in national security and in finance with the reshuffle of both Fitzgerald Hines and Com Imbert. And he says that I think one of the things we are looking to do now is to open a new chapter, and what you are going to see is a lot of different things happening built on a solid platform. Does he have the time to even lay that out? I mean, you just said, of course, it's going to be cosmetic. They're going to rally around their leader. They're going to say, listen, you know, we have to win this thing. We have to unite. But does he really and truly have the time to put this together, to present something that is going to let the electorate feel as though it is on solid ground?
Well, the short answer is no. But what he said, I read that. That is typical public relations and political speak by the Prime Minister. Now, as I had also written, the PNM has been doing surveys. One of the major financiers has been doing surveys on their behalf, and they found that the three most unpopular government ministers were the Attorney General, who got a 3 months, who fortunately got a 3 month stint of the islands. The finance minister, meaning Mr. Imbert, he was highly unpopular, and the Privy Council ruling on the Auditor General issue was a further nail in his political coffin. And of course, everybody knows that Fitzgerald Hines wasn't popular. So the new Prime Minister felt that he needed to offload them as a message to the electorate that if he wins, they are not coming to run those respective ministries. So that's really what it was, essentially what it was. Vishnu Dhanpal has always been he's always been a PNM. He's always been liked. He was by the PNM. He was liked by Patrick Manning. He was a PS under Manning. He was liked by Dr. Rowley. In fact, he also served under the Kamala Prasad Bisesa administration as a
permanent secretary, yeah.
Yeah. So, they tapped him, they brought him back from London, where he was the High Commissioner. Very notably, Mickie, he was not able to do anything to forestall this heavy visa requirement that has now been imposed on Trinidadians traveling to London.
He said it came as a shock. He said it came out from nowhere, but then we're hearing that there were discussions taking place. And then you had, of course, the Dr. Rowley, the political leader, not prime, but political leader of the PNM, saying that he doesn't understand what it is that I could say the UK ambassador was telling the High Commissioner or the authorities in England, what exchange of communication there was, because things are a bit cloudy. On one hand, you're hearing that this has been going on for quite a while, and others weighing in and saying that we knew about it, it was a developing issue, but yet still we're hearing that it came like a thief in the night out of nowhere.
No, I am not personally, let me tell you why though. First, let me also indicate that I'm not justifying what the British have done, but it's not correct to say that they did not hold discussion. They did. At the diplomatic level, they held discussions with Trinidad and Tobago representatives. That's a fact. So we ought to have known something was going to take place. That's the first point. The second thing is that the number of people seeking asylum rose from 49 to 439, or a ninefold, almost tenfold increase. In real terms, that would be a small number, but per capita, that was a large number. Like I said, I'm not justifying what they did, but the reality is that there were more and more people. And Mickie, a lot of people are trying to flee Trinidad and Tobago because of the state of the country. Dr. Rowley, in his speech at Woodford Square on Sunday, alluded to the fact that a number of people had fled in the 1980s when things were hard, when we had gone to the IMF and so on. An entire village in Pinal sought refugee status in Canada.
Yeah.
So maybe the British authorities were seeking to forestall and prevent something like that happening, because there's a lot of anguish in this country. Apart from the crime situation, a lot of small businesses have shut down, and a lot of people feel a sense of hopelessness about the state of the country, a lot of people throughout the country. So maybe the British, who continue to gather intelligence on their countries, and the Prime Minister, Dr. Rowley said it correctly on Sunday when he said they gather information and they make reports every single day. So in their estimation, this was a serious matter that on the basis of which they felt they should introduce the visa. But it is not correct to say that they had not indicated to the authorities in Trinidad and Tobago they had not been holding discussions. They had held discussions over a long period of time.
Yeah, but Ken, even when you look at it, I mean, it seems that all developed nations are either campaigning or making immigration the major issue. That we're seeing that, and it seems as though they're ostracizing us for the reasons that we are not dealing with the issues of social ills, which is crime and the economy, what have you. But I think anyone could have seen that immigration is the main political in the spotlight when it comes to the issues that many countries are going on the election campaign trail with.
Well, very interestingly, just last week, the U.S. reinforced Trinidad and the advisory to the citizens about Trinidad and Tobago, a tier 3 travel advisory.
Right.
And that tier 3 says, do not travel unless necessary, right? If you have to travel for business or whatever, then go. So the Americans have also had their eyes focused on us, and they have not lowered the tier. I also want to add to this, Mikey, an important thing that the media has not picked up, indeed a whole lot of things they have not picked up. This week, U.S. President Donald Trump used an ancient piece of legislation called the Alien Enemies Act, which is really used only in wartime.
Yeah, that goes way back.
That's from Venezuela. He deported them to El
Salvador.
A judge prevented him from doing it, but by the time the judge issued the warning, the order, they were already on the plane. You know, I have been writing about this and nobody else in the media. Tren de Aragua comes from a prison, and they started a prison in Venezuela. And I'm not telling you what I'm making up, I'm telling you, and I'm quoting details here. CARICOM employed a Canadian firm. I don't have the name on my mind, but I could get it for you. And that firm in 2019, that firm was employed to look at human trafficking, drug trafficking, gun trafficking in the Caribbean. And they indicated that Tren de Aragua was getting through to Trinidad and Tobago and bringing contraband goods, and there were the human trafficking, guns and so on, and they were working with local gangsters. As the Minister of National Security in that time, one Stuart Young, they did nothing, and Tren de Aragua continued to collaborate with our gangsters here, and our crime rate went up and so on. As soon as he became president, and he appointed a Homeland Secretary, her name is Noem, the other name slips me. They cracked down on Tren de Aragua in the Bronx, and the leader, his name is Pacheco, Zambrano Pacheco, and the rest of the others. In Colorado, they had a little nest there and so on, and they arrested a whole lot of them. And those are the guys, if not they themselves, the people have been coming in and out of Trinidad and Tobago through our porous borders in Cedros and the Carcass and the Erin and so on for years. And we have done nothing about it. And that's an important security matter. And the international world, remember there are 5 American security agencies based in Trinidad. They were the ones who were responsible for that cocaine bust last week.
Right.
And so on. And all of this has taken place, and the developed world, which shares intelligence information, has taken note of the security situation in Trinidad, the gun running. Trinidad and Tobago doesn't manufacture guns, and look at the high-powered guns we have and so on. So all those things the developed world has taken note of. The British, the American, the and so on. And all those are factors that impact their decision, their intelligence gathering and their decision making.
Yeah, and you're right. And one would think that, seeing all of this unfold, that we would be somewhere in the mix of it, doing what is best to protect our interests. But yet still many people are now saying this came like a thief in the night. They were shocked. But again, I mean, you just gave a short history on how this has been taking place for quite some time. It's amazing. Now going back to the new finance minister, Vishnu Danpal, he said yesterday that his tenure will not bring financial hardship to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. As if to say, reading between the lines there, that have we been purposely being economically punished by the former finance minister come Imbert? And if so, why? Was there some sort of strategy to actually starve some of the constituencies or MPs?
Well, you have to wonder. And on what is the basis? I guess the media didn't prove it much. And so what is the basis? Because we have not diversified the economy. Oil and gas production are the lowest, and prices are unstable. And we have not made an effort to diversify the economy. So you could say what that, but that sounds like political grandstanding unless we have a plan. And the reality is that the quality of life in Trinidad and Tobago has deteriorated. And Mikey, I have written over the years and provided statistics about the widening wealth gap in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, Bernie Sanders talks about that in the U.S.
Yeah.
But that scenario is here in Trinidad and Tobago. 4 banks made $4.87 billion profit in the last fiscal year. They have, if you a client in a bank, they have up to 70 charges on all kinds of things, while more people are getting poorer. And the gap has gotten wide. More corporations are making billions of dollars in the country. Our food import bill is 8 point something billion now, while we are the largest agro farm in the Eastern Caribbean, 70,000 acres of former Caroni land. They gave it away to all kinds of people who have warehouses and so on, well-connected people. And our food import bill has gone up. So and that has an impact on foreign exchange. So all of those things have taken place. Mikey, we are the only CARICOM country, and this is confirmed by international agencies, we're the only that has a net outflow of investors. During the tenure of Mrs. Prasad Bissessa, we had an annual inflow in the last 2 or 3 years of $1.5 billion investors coming in. Now we have an outflow. We are the only country, and we are an industrialized country. Those little islands which only attract investors in tourism and hospitality and so on, they're doing better than us. All right, so we have had a flight, Lever Brothers left us after 50-something years, ArcelorMittal, and I could give you a long shopping list of those who have left and who has come in. None has come in, and it's because of the factors that they look for, security and so on, are not existent in the country. So on what is the basis that Vishnu Danpal is saying what he's saying? Maybe he has a plan?
Well, that's the thing, because I'm certain that citizens are walking around asking, well, is he going to get some sort of budget, a windfall of money is he expecting together? Because we have been trying to keep our heads above water for quite some time. And now you're telling us that, his tenure is not going to be, as short as it may be, is not going to bring financial hardship to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. As if to say that the valve was deliberately squeezed on us, and now we're going to see some sense of release.
Yeah, well, we need to know. I guess you wouldn't have the time before the election to tell us what is the plan, unless they announce that on the campaign trail in specifics. But then again, Mikey, if you examine the PNM's manifesto in 2015 in particular, and 2020 to an extent, they spoke of plans to diversify the economy, major plans. Now, after nearly 10 years, the Prime Minister said 2 weeks ago, where did he say that? At some function somewhere, that let us depend, I'm telling you directly what he said, let us use telepathy to send good spiritual vibes so that rather than gas would. So after all of this, we depended on clairvoyance, the lady telling you to think positive and so on, somebody telling you that in a back room somewhere. And depend on dragon gas, which, as everybody knows, is not going anywhere anytime soon. So they've put their eggs in one basket after promising repeatedly for a decade that we would work to diversify. In fact, my research found that Mr. Manning, as Prime Minister, had promised diversification into several things, like shipbuilding, for example. We have the only secured port down at Chagaramas in Eastern Caribbean after St. Lucia.
That's right.
So, but we've never created the industry and so on. If you go turn up there with your yacht, you have to stand up in a line and they will fill out a form with paper. We still haven't digitized and all of those things. So we've made no effort to diversify the economy. And maybe Vishnu Danpal has a plan. We just
it has been said that his style of leadership is quite different. He's easily accessible when it comes to talking to the media compared to the former finance minister who would block journalists from contacting him and what have you. So, which is a big difference. But let's look at the core issue here of the election and what needs to play out in order for perhaps the UNC to get that sort of traction and that political leverage. Well, many people are walking around asking questions and saying, listen, if this is being announced today, why didn't Rowley just simply announce it before he left? Here it is, you're talking about a new chapter on Monday, and then on Tuesday you call the date. Is this something that the UNC needs to play up and try to fill those gaps and try to bring about a plain picture as to why it is we're going through this crisis currently?
Yes, I think so. The short answer to your question, I think so. Why didn't Dr. Rowley make the announcement? Is it because he realized that his image was so tattered and he didn't want to be the one to lead the charge into the election? Maybe it's that. Maybe it's a result of the internal poll that said things about him and so on and so forth. Because you're right, he has retired from politics, or he has stepped down from the prime ministership less than 2 months after the parliament is dissolved. And most people would not do that. They would go to the end of the term.
Exactly.
And then not present themselves. So maybe he did this to give the PNM a better fighting chance.
Yeah, but in the midst of all of that, there's some confusion to the electorate as to what's going on. I mean, again, but there's more questions than answers. We've never had a prime minister relinquish power. We've had many go to the polls, whether you win or you lose. Many have showed up. This is the first time. Again, we are in some uncharted waters. Then, of course, you have where some a reshuffle takes place, as if there's a new cabinet, and then the next day we get a date for the election. I mean, is this all part of their strategy, or something simply is not working out?
It could be part of their strategy, but it sounds like 10 days. Imagine they bring back the High Commissioner from London, from St. James Court, and he gets virtually 10 days here. So and I don't know if he's a politician in the sense that he will go on the street corner and campaign. He really is a technocrat and a public servant. So I don't know if he's going to make it out to campaign really. So that's a very interesting thing. It's also interesting that Stuart Young kept on essentially all the ministers, he didn't really blood.
And that's another thing, Ken. I mean, you have individuals who simply said, listen, I want to ride off in the sunset. There was no need to appoint Hines in any portfolio. There was no need to promote Adrian Leons. There was no need for that labor minister. I can never remember the McClatchy, whatever his name is, because he doesn't make much of a contribution. So I don't even think his constituents remember his name. But the fact of the matter is, what are we really seeing playing out here? Are these people who were rallying around Stuart Young to say, listen, we think he should be the one selected? Is this payback?
And there's some curious moves to add to what you just said. The Minister of Digital Transformation made him a minister in the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah.
And he told the media that there are some areas in the Ministry of Finance need to be digitized. Well, all you have to do is tell the Minister of Digital Transformation to digitize the Ministry of Finance. You don't have to put the man there. Well, apart from that, tell us what the Minister of Digital Transformation has done in Trinidad and Tobago. You were to the public service, you still have to wait forever to get things done. And in the rest of the world, you could get things, most developed countries, most developing countries too. You could get things done. You go to Singapore in one press of the button, you get everything synchronized and so on. The US, Canada, other places. We are still very backward. We're using paper and so on. And this is after all these years of promising public service reform and having now a designated Minister of Digital Transformation. In what area of public affairs, or what areas are digitized in Trinidad and Tobago, fully digitized?
Yeah.
If you apply, for example, let me give you one example. If you apply in the energy sector, there are several forms you have to fill out, and literal forms. And Mikey, you can't do 5 things at the same time, you have to fill out one form, and then it has to go to another after it's completed. So there's several things you have to do, and that process takes forever. And that is why our ease of doing business, we are 105th in the world. A businessman is coming in here, apart from taking 3 months to get an TNTech connection and so on. The whole thing about registering a business in Trinidad and Tobago, it's forever, and we've done nothing about those things.
All right. Any closing comments? Go right ahead.
I think the election would be a very close one. all eyes would be on Stuart Young. I listened to his speech or speeches. I think he must start with a speechwriter. I don't think he had laid out a vision really, except to talk about unity among the diverse society. Well, everybody's been talking about that since Rick Williams' days. I would like to hear what he has to say really about how he's going to take Trinidad out of our two major pitfalls. One is crime and the economic crisis in which we are in. So, Mikey, I think it's going to be a very close election, and we should put on our seatbelts and be prepared for it.
Thank you so much again. Always good to have you on. Keep up the good work. Keep up the great writing, and we'll be checking in with you periodically. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mikey.
All right. Folks, we're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we speak to former Government Minister Jack Warner right here on The Observer. We'll be right back.
For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Arouca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water taps, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
The Excel brand delivers quality service.
I would recommend Omega Excel to everyone.
Take care of yourself, take care of your health with Omega Excel.
If Omega Excel works for me, it will work for you.
Over a period of time, I started feeling stronger in my knee where I could add more pressure.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
Hey, we are back, folks, and we have him on air. Yes, he's going to weigh in on this. Former Government Minister Jack Warner. Pleasant good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, Mikey.
Yes, I know you've had quite a long day. I know you just came from your walkabout. Tell us how is that going?
It was a massive walk in the Arouca Lupino constituency. We had about 30, 40 people in the walkabout. We visited 616 homes. We left our banners, our bios, our cards. The candidate met everybody, and we, of course, are very proud of today's success. Then we had a prayer after the walk and delivered some meals to the supporters.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, last week I did interview Dr. Natalie Chaitan Maharaj, and I must tell you, she was like a breath of fresh air, very energetic and very down to earth, very humble. I mean, working with someone like that and presenting her to you.
And very bright.
And very bright. How is it working with someone like that, you know, on the campaign trail?
I am happy about her enthusiasm and willingness to succeed. She has said to me that her mission was to become a doctor to save lives, and today her mission comes.
If you need to stay just one place because you're breaking up a bit.
She said to me earlier on today that she became a doctor to save lives, and she wants to be a politician to save her country.
Wonderful. Now, of course, you know the date, April 28th. I mean, you've seen everything that has unfolded from over the weekend to today. I mean, looking at it, because there seems to be more questions than answers. Many are saying, why is it that the former Prime Minister didn't simply dissolve Parliament? Why is it that we had to have this whole charade about cabinet reshuffle? And now today being told that we go to the polls on April 28th. Is it a constitutional crisis, or you believe there's more to that's unfolding here?
These guys are cowards. They know that Dr. Rowley is the most unpopular person in heaven and earth. and therefore he had to demit office for them to even have a bare chance to succeed. They are aware of that. They also are afraid that Stuart Young would make a mistake or two or three or four if he stays longer in office. And if you had read Sunshine today last week, you would have seen on page 5 that Ken Ali predicted that April 28 would be elections. So we have not been caught napping. Their plan has been exposed for a long time. And therefore, I believe that the UNC is ready and able and competent to take over the government come April 29th.
Now, when you hear statements from the new finance minister, Vishnu Danpal, saying that his tenure will not bring financial hardship to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, I mean, does it somewhat send a message as though there has been, a tightening of the valve, and now all of a sudden there's going to be some release for the people who have been trying to keep their heads above water?
There can be some release, Mickie K, but the people in this country are too intelligent, too politically advanced and smart to be fooled by any of those theatrics. The fact is they can release funds as much as they want. They can pave roads as much as they want. They can make pipelines gush with water as much as they want. This country is simply fed up of the PNM, fed up of Rowley and Stuart Young, and all they're waiting for is for April 28th to transfer and translate their anger into votes.
Now, what we witnessed over the weekend, of course, many are saying it's just a matter, it's all cosmetic. They are rallying around Mr. Stuart Young. But of course, at the end of the day, when the dust settles, there seems to be still this split, this rift among them.
Oh, yeah, sure. There's a split. And all they have done last weekend is to paper over the cracks. But the political cracks are there for all to see. Even Imbod, who got demoted, was not able to even clap to applaud during their meeting. He had to, of course, put his fingernails together. You saw, of course, Heinz face. You saw what's happening even with Camille, the new AG of nothing. So there's no fooling. People are aware there's a split. And in typical PM fashion, they are trying their utmost to give a unified face and so on, but nobody is fooled about that.
Now, one of the strategies that many have spoken about from the UNC was the fact that, there was no need to put out all those candidates, so that way the political narrative would be, of course, managed well by the party, rather than having the PNM look for kinks in the armor of those individuals going up. Do you believe that the fact that they didn't have that traction, that they had no other choice but to call the date at this time?
I think Mrs. Prasad Bisasa has to be commended for her political astuteness. She has been pushed and encouraged and cajoled to announce her 41 or 39 candidates. And she has refused, and sensibly so. And she has not announced 11, but she has had 39 in her pocket from day one. So she didn't announce those, so they wouldn't have a chance to attack anybody, to look for, as you say, kinks in people's armor, to go on the rampage, so to speak, to allow their PNM social media exposed to do damage, as the case may be. And therefore, she is well advanced in terms of announcing her candidates at the last possible time. And I have to tell you, however, that her candidates are all working in their constituencies, as Dr. Natalie Chaitan Maharaj is working in hers.
All right. I know you're a bit tired. I know that you have tomorrow again to go.
Physically beat.
I know you're physically beat. So let me ask you finally, of course, to those UNC members who are still sitting on the sidelines and, of course, have not started to participate as yet, what would be your message and advice to them?
My advice to them is for God's sake, put God out of their thoughts and let us band together to get rid of the People's National Movement government. This country cannot take another 5 years of PNM. This country needs to breathe. And whatever the reason for their hatred, their anger, I ask them to subordinate those reasons for their better interests and their children's interests. Because we have to save this country. I don't have to be here, as you're aware, Mickie K. I could be relaxing and play my own foes. But I believe that the time has come when all of us must bury the hatchet and face the PNM frontally as one united front.
Thank you.
And I urge the members to do just that.
Thank you so much. Get some well-deserved rest. And I know tomorrow you're back out at it.
I'm back out tomorrow again.
Thank you so much. All the best to you, Mr. Warner.
Thank you, Mickie.
Yeah. There you have it, folks. Former Government Minister Jack Warner just coming off the campaign trail, assisting the candidate for Aruka Lupino, Dr. Natalie Chaitan Maharaj, who we had on last week. A breath of fresh air, a young lady who said that she became a doctor, according to Mr. Warner, to save lives, now a politician to help save the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And just to remind you, our bodies are under stress from environmental toxins to work stress to poor food choices and low nutrients in the food we eat. Our bodies are under a lot of stress, and all of these can lead to high inflammation levels. Pick up your bottle of Omega XL today for the reduction of inflammation in the body. It is one of the most powerful all-natural anti-inflammatory supplements on the market today. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, the lines are going to be open. I know that if you're trying to keep your head above water and money is tight, you can, of course, call via WhatsApp 494-0938. If you want to call direct, 225-9790. 225, is that correct, Master Control? 225-9790. Again, 225-9790. And if you want to call direct again, you can call 461-3965. 461-3965. Short, we're coming right back.
Excel brand delivers quality service.
I would recommend Omega XL to everyone.
Take care of yourself, take care of your health with Omega XL.
If Omega XL works for me, it will work for you.
Over a period of time, I started feeling stronger in my knee where I could add more pressure.
Oh gosh, this place hot. And the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 Cane Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air. When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now, 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
Thank you, Master Control. We have someone on already. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Mike.
Yes.
I mean, it's a pleasure to see how, this administration, this PNM administration acted. Look at that. Like you reshuffle the whole parliament. Plus, you actually put people in a position, and then after you call election, I don't understand it. It's just so kind of, scrupulous. I would use, because at the end of the day, they have nothing. They have nothing to give, nothing to develop. They just want to just play games. Imagine that thing they had on Sunday. The amount of money they spent to have that on Sunday there, I mean, come on, taxpayers' money going down the drain. They're just fooling people, Mickie.
And even yesterday with the reshuffle, I mean, money was spent there too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so I don't understand this, and we need to actually do something about it.
Let me ask you something. Do you feel like it's a sense of disrespect to the people?
Total disrespect.
And do you think that they're going to remember that on April 28th, how they've been treated?
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, we have been treated so far a long period of time. I mean, we get accustomed to the ill treatment, and we're not really getting chance to hear what it is really going on. They're always doing things on the low. They're not communicating with the public. It's always some kind of charade, some kind of fast, like the Tobago, right now in Tobago. Imagine I go on by them, the airport I passed through when they was launching. They had the block off and quarantine the area. So I asked the officer, I said, the public open to go and view the airport? No. So I don't understand. You're opening something to the public, and it's something international, like big international airport, and the public can't see. When you really pass there, Mickie, is the barbed wire and all. In finish, take a lot of things. They plant some little shrubs. It withering because of the, the mindset of these people. They have, it's like a negative kind of vibration all over, because why? They're not seeking to please anybody but themselves and the financiers,
And
but
just
they have a great program.
Thanks a lot,
Great
man.
program.
Appreciate that.
Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Yes, Tunapuna. Okay, had him on there, thing there. All right. Ooh, we have. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Mikey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay. Are you hearing me properly?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Right.
What is your mic, Tunapuna?
Just now to the. Go ahead, Miss. Go ahead. He's on hold. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. Mikey, they really take us a bunch of fools in this country. You want to tell me what was the reason for making Stuart Young a prime minister for one day, one single day, spend so much money in swearing in, because money had to be spent, Mikey, right? And reshuffling a cabinet and all this kind of thing, giving these new set of people hope. And then today you come and you dissolve parliament and call the election. Now, I am glad that you can call it. I am glad, because that's what we have been waiting for. But something is amiss, Mikey, right? Is it because he wanted Stuart Young to get that prime minister's salary? Just at him, plus he worked so hard today. He deserved that $80-something thousand a month. They really take us for fools, and I am appealing to the people out here. Do not be fooled by what it is the PNM coming with. Remember all what they did to us for this last 10 years, and vote them out of office. They don't deserve to be there, Mikey. They suffered us enough, and they have to go. They have to go from there. Thanks a lot, Mikey, and have a good night.
Appreciate that. All right, the lines are open. Once again, the lines are open. Yeah, again, you can call via WhatsApp 4940938. And of course, you can call the other number. Go ahead, Tunapuna. Thank you so much for holding. Go ahead.
Yes, Mikey. Good night, brother.
Good night.
Good night. Mikey, great program. And I want to compliment Mr. Ken Ali and Mr. Jack Warner, but I think Ken Ali covered everything that that had have us in this quagmire, and remove any element of doubt. Now I want to say this to Mikey. Today my MP Khadija Amin was home by me when walking the streets then, and meeting the residents and whatnot, I think. And I also wanted to on Thursday she will be having her meeting at Mahvir's supermarket that's across the bus route on Page Main Road. Right, on Tuesday. So I'm making that announcement on her behalf, and I'm appealing to the constituents to come out and support her. Now, Mikey, let me get to the main gist of my contribution. This fella they call Dan Paul, I don't believe him, I don't trust him. And he seems to be a clone of Imbot, because why? You want to tell me you was the High Commissioner in England, and you hadn't a clue what was going on with this visa matter and whatnot and thing, and you never raised a red flag or discussed anything for him to inform the country. You stayed quiet. It is the same man who they put to negotiate the sale of Petrotrin with this corrupt company from Nigeria. And no disclosure, no transparency. Is this a man we could trust, Mikey? Huh? I mean, people have to be really stupid. And I have absolutely no concern. He seems to be, let me put it straight to you, Mikey, another con man. I put in a district. Next slide, Mikey. The Attorney General didn't attend the swearing-in ceremony and what have you. But the next day, I understand that he's now some High Court judge in CARICOM, something like that, Mikey?
Yes, in Eastern Caribbean, yeah.
Where were you all the time you were campaigning while you were in the AG's office? And I can't see that how you could rise to the level of a High Court judge when you were one that was found lying to this population on numerous instances, even in the Miami court. And then again, finally, Mikey, Call Mimbot has been removed as a Minister of Finance. Now, this way, he can't put no added pressure burden in terms of taxation and what other thing, raise the price of fuel and what other thing. But remember this, I want to tell the population is, he is placed in the public utilities. And public utilities, and you're seeing and you're watching what's going on with the RIC, with the deliberation of wanting to raise the rates and what have you. And by him going into the Ministry of Public Utilities, expected very soon, well, now that the election called, we don't know what could be the outcome. But water rate, telephone rate, electricity rate will be one of the hastened things to raise increases, because this is a way that he could generate revenue to this country. You understand? So I am warning the population, please people, be very conscious, be very civic-minded. You listen to Mr. Warner, listen to Ken Ali. We have to forget our differences. And as you rightfully say, we have a country to save, my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay.
Hey, let me say good evening to Malcolm X. Malcolm X is on.
Hey, Mighty K, my brother.
Hey, go ahead.
I'm so proud of you. It's people like you, so Mikey, I looking forward in the new government to educate we people and to help we people. Because leadership is something we, either African, wherever you want to call me, we lack a leadership. And we need people like you that will bring these kind of facts and reality. Now, Mikey, you know why I find this graceful? All the time, Leon was a junior minister.
Yeah.
A black, powerful man. His constituency is well pleased with him. You hearing me, Mikey?
Loud and clear.
Right. The constituency are more for people talk how he's very helpful, he polite, he's a good representative. But you ain't put him as a minister. You have wages there where God alone know what she was doing to help who? Sheself. But you come now and you make Leons, the man say he ain't going back because he know why.
Yeah.
And I keep telling all of that on the ground report. Leons know why he say he ain't going back because he's not like to me he a man with principle. He don't lick. I don't want to use the right word, but he don't lick. And like he is one say he's not going back because of the wrong he see and the oppression what they're doing to his people in this country. You get a man minister. Listen, I feel so good when I hear the man come minister that he go try and help the people more. For one day we can't help nobody, and then you still come in and tell me Mova people and Lavanti people going back and vote for he like how they vote for Gerard Hines when he lost in Mova. They didn't want him. They put him in Lavanti and he win. What happened to we people? We had to wake up and see this thing bigger than we, you know. Mikey, and here why I don't like this government for it. This Rowley administration with Stuart Young and them, you know why I don't like? Chinatown. Then the next thing, all them groceries, all them playway machine, 35 to 1 and all these things. And you know, if a little child go with a donation, she buy any Chinese place. They don't make no kind of contribution. They don't donate nothing. They don't take part with nothing to only take and want. And God alone know where the money going. It ain't investing in Trinidad. The Chinese Association now is who calling the shot after the 1%. Tell me, what my people waiting to see? Chain back on we foot and we gain whip to clean canal with CPEP and ULP. That is where we looking to put ourselves back in. One man don't tell me about coal pot and bicycle already. And all is still telling me about Stuart Young. Stuart Young go on there now because here we have. The Chinese Association go back here. The 1% and them done get rich and more rich. The Indian people work hard, that they making we feel them is we enemy. Don't support them. With them people what? The Indian I born in Sawan, I know Indian people well work hard. and they sacrifice for them and the children. Why my grandfather and them was saying every top sit down on your own bottom and they wasn't helping we. So we be talking about, if I had to trust anybody right now, I go in the UNC way because the Chinese Association can't win me. Neither the 1% I trying to get from under them shackles long time. And if all you wake up and see what's going on, all you pour out all your thoughts. Have a good night, Mikey.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, you know, here's where, to me, personally, that the disrespect is so highlighted. The newly appointed finance minister, Vishnu Danpal, said that his tenure will not bring financial hardship to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, I wish he could have expanded on that. Is it that there will be no property tax, so they go back to the old property tax module? Is it that there's not going to be an increase in utility rates as far as TNTech and what have you? I would have loved for him to expand on that. But then when you read something here from our good friend Ken Ali, Colm Imbert's removal from the powerful Ministry of Finance was retribution for a bitter feud with Prime Minister Stuart Young. In the hours leading to the swearing-in of Young's cabinet, there was uncertainty about whether Imbert would accept the lower designation of Public Utilities Minister. Young and Imbert have been at loggerheads for months, and the dispute worsened when the Energy Minister was anointed as successor to Dr. Keith Rowley. Now hear this part. Some ministers who back Young complained of difficulties in accessing funding to complete projects ahead of the general election. I want to repeat that. Some ministers who back Young complained of difficulties in accessing funding to complete projects ahead of the general election. One minister lost his cool at a meeting of Cabinet's Finance and General Purpose Committee, which Imbert chairs. And a pro-Imbert blogger paid $30,000 a month by taxpayers wrote blistering pieces aimed at Young. And he goes on to talk about the feud between Imbert and Young, whatever. My thing is that if the money is there, why would you be so sadistic in your thinking that you would have people suffering in this country and you know quite well that you can do better for them? I mean, that alone should tell you how sick-minded these individuals are. If there's one thing to motivate you to get up on April 28th and say that really and truly, those last 9 years, what I have learned is that the PNM really doesn't care about the people of this country. For Danpal to come now and say, hey, listen, I go get the money. I go put out the money. Don't worry. I go sign off on this and I go sign off on that. Really? How many of us have stayed up late at night thinking about how we're going to send our children for higher education? Because the little money that we tuck away in order for them to go, you had to use that. Your savings account has been depleted. All of these things are reality. When last you went on vacation? No, ask yourself, when last you bought yourself a new piece of clothing? Just a new piece of clothing. Ask yourself that. And how you just go and make groceries now? Huh? How many times you go to the supermarket now and you always see that card right there by the register and nobody to claim it? Because they ran out of money. They ran out of money. And then there's the game that I always tell you about that people just play. They're so surprised that it came up to that. They say, oh God, you know, I forget so and so. No, you didn't forget it. You didn't think that there was enough money in your budget to actually pay for that. So now you're running pretending that you forgot it. But you're so glad that now you have a little bit left over. You could go and grab that piece of cheese or that can of tuna. That's the reality you've been living for the last 9+ years. When people could have done better by you and your family and by extension, all of Trinidad and Tobago. And now we're hearing that it was done deliberately because you didn't like this one and you didn't like that one. But why do we have to pay the price? Why? 1 second, let me just take this here. This is the last call before we go. Go ahead quickly. Go ahead, you're on.
Mikey.
Yes, go ahead, you're on.
Hello, good night, Mikey.
Good night, good night.
How are you, my brother? Good show tonight, my brother.
Thank you.
What we ask for, we get it, boy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Blessings to you, my brother.
Well, on the 28th, make that difference. On the 28th, make that difference, please.
Yes, Mr. Lennox, who's talking to you?
Yeah, I know it is short, man, I know.
Ah, boy, your prayers work, boy. Your prayers work for the 28th, boy.
All right.
You come back on after?
Yeah, no, I gotta wrap things up, but tomorrow night I will be here tomorrow evening.
You're going on tonight?
I am on tonight. You're live. I'm on the show tonight.
Oh, you're on the show tonight?
Yes, I have you on live.
Okay, my brother. All the
All right,
best.
thanks a lot. Appreciate that. All
Yeah.
right. That was short, man. Always there to support. Just make sure to do the right thing. Folks, that brings us to the end of our program, but I hope you understand exactly where these people were going and their mindset. You know, so all those months that you have been suffering, some of you have gotten to the point where you've worried so much. You have kidney problems, high blood pressure, diabetes. They didn't care whether you died. They were all playing a game. That's what they were doing. I didn't like this one, so I hold back money. I don't like this one. And who had to pay the price? Who? Hey, the action has started. We've observed everything for the last 9 years, and now the action has started. Until tomorrow, we'll be back 7 p.m., God willing, right here on Guile the TV. Of course, streaming on Workers' Rights Platform, Real Media, TT, Tigo, Facebook, YouTube. Until then, be safe, folks. We have a lot of work to do. Take care.